Gold's Gym, Venice Beach, Los Angeles. July 17, 1999, 11:47 a.m. The sun outside is merciless, turning the asphalt into a shimmering black mirror. Inside the legendary gym, the air is thick with the smell of iron, old leather, sweat-soaked rubber mats, and the faint metallic tang of blood from yesterday's sessions. Heavy bags hang like sleeping giants. Barbells rest in perfect rows. But today, no one is lifting. No one is grunting. The entire back corner of the gym has become a silent arena. A large blue wrestling mat has been rolled out under the bright overhead lights. Around it, 40 people stand in a loose circle. Trainers, sparring partners, a few off-duty fighters, 2 journalists who swore secrecy, and a handful of curious bodybuilders who sensed something historic was about to happen. In the center of the mat stands Mark Coleman, the first UFC heavyweight champion, the godfather of ground and pound. 6'1", 240 pounds of dense, battle-hardened muscle. His chest looks like it was carved from granite. His arms are thicker than most men's thighs. Sweat already glistens on his shaved head. He bounces lightly on the balls of his feet, rolling his massive shoulders, cracking his neck. The look on his face is pure predator, confident, hungry, slightly amused. A few feet away, watching quietly, stand 2 future legends of the sport. Randy Couture, calm, analytical, arms folded across his chest. Tito Ortiz, young, cocky, gold chain shining against his tank top, a smirk playing on his lips. And directly opposite Coleman, wearing simple black fight shorts and an old gray t-shirt with the faded words, Iron Mike, stands Mike Tyson. 34 years old, 5'10", 220 pounds of compact, explosive power. His head is slightly lowered, the classic Tyson stance. His eyes are calm, almost sleepy, but those who know him understand that this is the quiet before lightning strikes. No entourage, no cameras, just the man. Coleman pulls on 16-ounce boxing gloves, flexing his fingers inside them. Tyson is already gloved, the old leather cracked and stained with the ghosts of 1,000 wars. No headgear, no shin guards, no rules except one that Tyson himself demanded before they began. We go hard, real pressure, but the moment anyone says stop, we stop immediately. I'm not here to hurt anyone. I'm here to learn, and maybe to teach. Coleman lets out a low, rumbling laugh that echoes off the concrete walls. Learn? Boy, I'm about to take you to school on the ground. You'll be flying through the air like a rag doll. Tito Ortiz leans toward Randy Couture and whispers loudly enough for half the room to hear. 10 seconds. Coleman shoots, takes him down, and it's over. Couture doesn't answer. He just watches, eyes narrowed, studying both men like a scientist. The small digital timer is set. Someone calls, time. Round 1, Coleman explodes forward like a freight train. No fancy footwork, no jabs. He drops his level instantly, hands up, driving for a double-leg takedown. Tyson sidesteps with that signature peekaboo sway, but Coleman is too fast. He catches the leg, drives forward, and slams Tyson onto the mat with a thunderous impact that makes the whole gym vibrate. The crowd gasps. Coleman is on top immediately, heavy hips pinning Tyson down. Ground and pound begins. Short, heavy elbows and punches to the body and arms. Not full power to the head, but hard enough to make ribs ache and lungs burn. Tyson covers up, elbows tight, absorbing the storm. His breathing is controlled, but the weight of a 240-pound champion is crushing. For 2 full minutes, Coleman dominates position, switching from side control to mount, grinding, smothering. The sound of leather hitting flesh echoes sharply. Sweat flies. Then, at 2:38, Tyson explodes. A violent bridge of the hips, a sudden turn, using the wall of the gym behind him for leverage. He scrambles, gets to one knee, then stands. Coleman tries to drag him back down and eats 3 vicious hooks to the body. The impacts land with a deep, meaty thud. Coleman's face twists for a split second. He circles away, breathing harder than he expected. The round ends. Coleman stands, grinning through the sweat. Not bad for a boxer, but on the ground, you're nothing. Tyson says nothing. He simply stares, eyes no longer sleepy. Round 2, Coleman comes out even more aggressive. Another lightning double leg. This time, he passes straight to full mount. The elbows rain down harder. Tyson's left eye begins to swell. A small cut opens above his cheekbone. Blood mixes with sweat and drips onto the blue mat. The crowd is loud now. Tito is shouting encouragement. Bodybuilders are leaning forward, phones discreetly recording despite the promise of secrecy. Yet Tyson rises again. No one quite understands how. He uses his compact power, creates a tiny window of space, shrimps, bridges, and suddenly he is back on his feet. Immediately he unleashes a savage series of body shots. Left hook, right hook, left hook again, all sinking into Coleman's midsection. Coleman grimaces, steps back, hands dropping for half a second. "Damn," he mutters. The round ends with both men breathing heavily, staring at each other with new respect. Round 3. Now Coleman is angry. Pride is on the line. He shoots again, lower, faster, more desperate. He gets the takedown, but this time Tyson is ready. As Coleman drives in, Tyson sprawls hard, hips dropping like an anvil, chest smashing into Coleman's upper back. Coleman's face hits the mat. Before he can recover, Tyson spins behind, grabs the waist and drags him down again, but this time Tyson is the one on top for a moment. They scramble wildly, legs tangle, grunts and heavy breathing fill the air. Coleman reverses, ends up on top again, delivering heavy ground strikes. Tyson's face is bloody now. The cut above the eye is leaking freely. But Tyson does not quit. He never has. He absorbs, waits, then explodes upward once more. When the round ends, both men are covered in sweat and a little blood. The gym is completely silent except for their labored breathing. Randy Couture walks over and hands Coleman water. He's not just surviving, he's learning your timing. Coleman spits blood-tinged saliva onto the mat. "I'm ending this next round." Round 4, the deciding round. The timer beeps. They touch gloves, a sign of respect. Coleman goes for broke. He fakes a punch, drops level, and launches the most powerful double leg of the day. This is the shot that has finished champions. But Mike Tyson has been waiting for exactly this moment. At the precise instant, Coleman's hands lock around his legs. Tyson sprawls with perfect technique, back leg shooting out, hips driving down with all his explosive power, chest crashing onto Coleman's shoulders. The sprawl is devastating. Coleman's momentum dies instantly. His face slams into the mat again. Before Coleman can recover, Tyson snakes his arm under Coleman's neck, controlling the head. In one fluid, terrifying motion, he spins and reverses position, ending up in full mount on the former UFC champion. The entire gym erupts. Coleman bucks wildly, bridging with all 240 pounds of muscle. Tyson rides the storm like a cowboy on a bull. Then, the moment Coleman's hips come up too high, Tyson slips his arm deeper, posts one hand on the mat, and unleashes a single, short, thunderous left hook that lands flush on Coleman's jaw. Not maximum power. Tyson holds back just enough. But the impact is sickening. Coleman's eyes roll for a split second. His body goes limp. Tyson immediately stops. He raises both hands, showing he will not continue. "Stop?" he asks calmly. Coleman lies there for 3 long seconds, chest heaving, staring at the ceiling lights. Then he nods weakly. It's over. Tyson stands up. He extends his hand. Coleman takes it. Tyson pulls the much larger man to his feet with surprising ease. The gym explodes with applause, cheers, and stunned laughter. Not for a knockout, not for domination, for something much rarer, 2 warriors pushing each other to the edge and still showing respect. Tyson places a gloved hand on Coleman's shoulder. His voice is low, raspy, but carries through the entire gym. You are the god of the earth, Mark. When you take a man down, you move mountains. You control the ground like no one I've ever felt. But the fist is lightning. Boxing and grappling are not different sports. They are different languages of the same war, the war for control. You control the ground. I control space and time. Today you taught me to respect the takedown like never before. I showed you that even on your world, the ground, a man can still be dangerous if he understands how to create lightning out of nothing. Coleman stands there, blood and sweat dripping from his face, breathing hard. He looks at Tyson for a long time. Then he laughs, a genuine, humbled laugh. Jesus Christ, Mike. I came in here thinking I was going to ragdoll a boxer. Instead, you made me look like a beginner on my own turf. That sprawl, I've never felt anything like it. You didn't just defend it. You used my own power against me. You turned my strength into your weapon. He shakes his head, still smiling. You showed me I don't know everything. I thought once I had you on the ground it was finished. You proved the ground can be a battlefield for both of us. Thank you, brother. Real talk. Thank you. They embrace. Not a quick Hollywood hug. A real, sweaty, respectful embrace between two heavyweights who just tested each other's souls. Tito Ortiz stands speechless for the first time in his life. Randy Couture walks over, shakes Tyson's hand firmly. I've seen hundreds of sparring sessions. That was one of the most beautiful things I've ever witnessed. You didn't just survive grappling. You spoke its language while still speaking yours. Later, after the gloves come off and both men sit on the edge of the mat with water bottles and towels, the real conversation begins. Coleman asks about the peekaboo style, how Tyson moves his head and shoulders to create angles even when someone is shooting for his legs. Tyson demonstrates slowly, explaining how the constant motion makes it almost impossible to lock onto a clean takedown. Coleman shows his favorite chain wrestling sequences. Tyson tries them, laughs when he fails the first few times, then asks questions until he starts to feel the rhythm. You see, Tyson says quietly, I was never afraid of wrestling. I was only afraid of one thing, a man who doesn't respect another man's art. The talk goes on for nearly an hour. Techniques are exchanged, stories are told, laughs are shared. Blood dries on Tyson's face. Coleman's jaw swells noticeably. Before they leave the gym that day, Coleman looks at Tyson and says, Next time you're in town, come back. We'll do it again, but lighter. And I want to learn more of that boxing defense against shots. Tyson smiles that famous gap-toothed smile. You got it. And I want to feel more of that ground control. We both get better. What happened afterward? Mark Coleman began incorporating serious boxing training into his regimen, not just hitting the bag, but footwork, head movement, angle creation, and defensive slipping. He told his training partners, Tyson showed me that ground and pound without real boxing is only half the weapon. Their friendship grew. Tyson visited Coleman's gym several more times over the following years. They sparred again, lighter, more technical, full of conversation. Coleman later said in private interviews, never naming names directly, but everyone in the fight world knew, one of the greatest boxers who ever lived taught me that even the strongest grappler can be made vulnerable if he doesn't understand space and timing. And I showed him that the ground isn't a prison, it's another kind of battlefield. Randy Couture and Tito Ortiz never forgot that afternoon. Couture would later cite it as one of the moments that reinforced his belief that true champions learn from every discipline. Tyson left the gym that day with a cut above his eye and a swollen cheek, but with a quiet smile. In the car on the way home, he told his trainer, You know what was the best part? Not that I put him on his back, but that when it was over, he stood up, looked me in the eye and said, Thank you. That's what fighting should be, not who is stronger, but who walks away better than when they started. July 17, 1999. Gold's Gym, Venice Beach. 40 witnesses, 4 hard rounds, 1 perfect sprawl, 1 lightning hook, 1 lesson that still echoes in combat sports more than 25 years later. Boxing and grappling are not enemies. They are different languages of the same eternal war, the war for control. And on that hot summer afternoon in Los Angeles, 2 absolute champions proved that when you truly respect the other man's language, you become far more dangerous in your own. That is the real power. That is the real legacy.